What brings you here on this fine spring evening?
Well, it's Harry's 6th year at Hogwarts. Let's see what kind of trouble they get into this year. Here's Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince.
The tale is thrilling, if I say so myself. I'd like you to see it.
So we meet back up with Harry, who's flirting with a waitress by telling her that he sucks.
Who's Harry Potter?
Bit of a tosser, really.
But he manages to get a date with her when she gets off at 11 p.m.
But what would you do on a date that late?
Get off again.
I think he overestimates my abilities.
But given how Harry's been around girls so far, I'm guessing the word premature would have been involved.
How disappointing.
But he then leaves his magical newspaper in the diner where the waitress already thought she saw the pictures move because he sees Dumbledore across the subway. And he teleports him away right as the waitress is leaving work.
Well, way to cockblock, Brian.
Well, Harry and Dumbledore were talking right in front of a billboard for a new lady's personal vibration device, so maybe she can still have a good night.
Yeah, they really do work.
And Harry won't have to tell her his name or end up embarrassing himself.
Most people vomit the first time.
So they went to Budley Babberton, where they break into a house that's already been broken into, and find this dude, Horace Slughorn, pretending to be a chair. The Death Eaters are trying to recruit him, so it seems that he trashed the house he's hiding in to make them think that they already looked for him there. But Dumbledore was able to find him, not because he was the one untouched item of furniture, but because he staged a fake murder upstairs using dragon's blood, which he knows by taste.
Thinks he's a vampire?
Dumbledore feels bad for the family who lives there and puts their house back in order.
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all!
And then he goes to take a shit. Horace apparently made himself at home and decorated, even though he says that he never stays anywhere more than a week. But he takes the opportunity to show Harry his wall of fame. They're all students that went on to do cool shit after they graduated. And he even has his mom on there. But Dumbledore comes back and asks if he can have the bathroom magazine because he didn't finish reading it. Then he and Harry fuck off.
Which means it was all a waste.
Outside, Dumbledore tells him that because Slughorn is a little starfucker, he brought him along because he knows that Horace wouldn't be able to resist teaching someone who's already famous. And the plan works because he runs out and agrees to come back to Hogwarts. Then Dumbledore apologizes for cockblocking him and tells him that he won't see that chick again. Then teleports Harry in a swamp about a half a mile from the Weasley house.
My magic can only take us so far.
Somehow, he's able to spy on Ginny in her bedroom window, while at the same time, she finds Harry's shit in their living room. Molly then gaslights Ginny about seeing Harry's shit because...
I think I'd know if Harry Potter was in my house, wouldn't I?
But Ron and Hermione haven't seen him either. He comes in the front door, pants covered in stagnant swamp water, but somehow, Ginny doesn't mind the stench, because they're about to kiss, until Hermione beaver dams her.
Leave him alone.
I guess they just have an open door policy at the Weasley house, and Hermione's parents must be pretty chill with the amount of time she's shacking up the night before school starts. But she almost didn't come, because both the Grangers and the Weasleys thought it might be too dangerous to go back to Hogwarts this year.
Well, almost being murdered will do that.
Shut up! They went to the ministry on their own. That had nothing to do with school. Now the light torturing from Uber Karen could be a factor, but since she's not there anymore, Ron and Hermione are able to go. Draco's also coming back, despite his dad being outed as a Death Eater. But Tom's charged him with a secret mission, so his mom goes to Snape for help.
Oh, because he's part of the Order of the Phoenix.
No, because he's a Death Eater.
What?
Oh, he's not even hiding it either. He's got Peter Pettigrew answering his front door and everything.
I've played my part well, so well, I've deceived one of the greatest wizards of all time.
He tells Mrs. Malfoy that he can't get Draco out of it, but he might be able to help. And Bellatrix, who's her sister, calls bullshit and makes Snape take an unbreakable vow that'll kill him if he doesn't uphold it. He vows that if Draco can't do the thing that he's supposed to do, that he'll do it for him.
Why would he agree to that?
Because Bellatrix called him a pussy.
A trait people never fail to undervalue, I'm afraid.
We then go to the store that Fred and George opened after they got booted out of Hogwarts. It's like a multi-story Spencer's, but if the product actually did what it said it would, and didn't end up being a cleverly decorated, overpriced bottle of jelly beans.
Earwax.
When they leave, we see that they're the only store that's thriving in Diagon Alley. Even Ollivander's is closed. That's mostly because some Death Eaters broke in and abducted him.
It's not always clear why.
Still, it seems like they would only do the bulk of their business right before school started. They then see Draco and his mom looking all shady, so they decide to follow him. But when they go into a shop, the three of them do what any of us would do. Climb on the roof. But someone closes the shade, so now they can't hear anything from an open window. Must be one of those soundproof curtains.
It's very common. You can Google it.
but they did see Malfoy looking at some furniture. So Harry assumes that it was him becoming a Death Eater instead of just out shopping with his mom.
You're blinded by hatred.
I'm not.
Yes, you are.
Ron and Hermione think he's full of shit, so he takes his invisibility cloak and sneaks in the luggage rack above Draco's table. But he moved a blanket 4 millimeters, and now Draco suspects somebody's up there. Everyone gets off the train, then Draco casts a spell that knocks Harry on his ass, and also the fuck out. Draco then stomps on his head and covers him back up with the cloak. But Luna walks in and immediately finds him with the help of her novelty glasses that detect rock spurts. Taking the cloak off also made him wake up, so I guess he doesn't have to worry about waking up in London anymore. Although, I'm not sure why the Hogwarts Express would need to go back there until the next time students were on break.
Is that bad? It's bad.
So even though Draco took the last carriage, Luna and Harry still get there walking before he's gone through a security checkpoint where they have 2 Aurors guarding it, but the school janitor's doing the searches.
I found this.
Hey, give it back! It's mine!
Professor Flitwick was worried about him, but also needs them to identify themselves to get in.
No exceptions, Potter.
They then go to the school assembly where they introduce Professor Slughorn.
Let me guess. He's the new Defense Against the Dark Arch professor.
No, he's the new potions teacher. They decided to finally let Snape take that spot after years of getting passed over.
Everyone knows it's the dark arts he fancies.
And after we know, he's in direct communication with Tom. But this is a good thing for Harry, because Snape wouldn't let him take his class unless he aced his owl in potions. But Slughorn's totally fine with new students. So when McGonagall tells him this, he's happy, but she also wants him to take Ron too, and for some reason, he agrees. Now, even though Ron doesn't want to be in this class, when they go to get books, there's a new book and an old piece of shit one. And Ron fights Harry over the new one and wins.
Really?
So Slughorn has him identify a potion, which turns out to be a love potion that he leaves out for a bunch of horny teenagers.
It was an extremely foolish thing to do.
He also has a vial of liquid luck for the student who can make a living death potion. Everyone's failing at this, but Harry's book has a bunch of cheat codes in it. Some of them are more like instructions, but others are tweaks to the recipe to make it the right way.
So let me get this straight. The textbook that the school uses to teach kids how to make dangerous potions has the wrong recipe?
Yes. And to make it worse, Horace even tells them that making the potions incorrectly could be catastrophic.
I dare say one drop would kill us all.
So Seamus blows himself up, Hermione has JBF hair, but Harry, who shouldn't even be in this class, makes the perfect potion and wins the liquid luck. And if it was anyone other than Harry or probably Hermione, the class would be happy for him.
I am the chosen one.
In his office, Dumbledore looks at Tom's diary. Dobby must have given back to him, but you'd think Lucius would have taken it since he was such a little bitch for Tom. Then when Harry comes in, I guess he's trying to make up for ignoring him last year by overcompensating.
But I notice you spend a great deal of time with Miss Granger.
Anyway, how is your sex life?
So after they talk about whether he's banging Hermione or not, Dumbledore shows him a giant display of vials he has. Each one has one of Tom's memories, and he wants him to watch the one where they first met in the Pensive. Basically, he visits an orphanage and meets with a boy and scares the shit out of the other kids. So like Professor Xavier, he invited him to a school where he could develop his powers.
Rejoin the world as an educated young woman, or stay on to teach others.
But little Tom called bullshit, so Dumbledore set his closet on fire, so he agreed to go. Then Dumbledore reveals to Harry that as Tom grew up, he became close with Professor Slughorn, so he wants Harry to get close to him to see what he knows.
It's only natural you should want to know more.
So the next day, they're having Quidditch tryouts. Ron's going out for the keeper spot, but so is this cocky douchebag, Cormac McLaggen. He's also trying to get with Hermione.
I think he's got a bit more than friendship on his mind.
But she doesn't want anything to do with him. She even sabotages his tryout so Ron would get the spot. But after, she gets mad at Harry for making her look bad by cheating in potions class.
Hypocrite!
She wants to know who the book belonged to, but the only clue they have is that they were called the Half-Blood Prince.
Something to think about.
The next day, they go out for a beer after seeing Slughorn heading to the pub. But Ron wants to dip when he sees Ginny with her boyfriend, and even more when Slughorn invites the other two to his place for dinner.
Never mind. Doesn't matter.
Then on the way back, Ron is starting to piece together that Hermione might like him, but their buzzes are killed when they come across a girl on the road. Someone gave her a package in the bathroom that she was supposed to take to Dumbledore, and when she touched what was inside, the necklace possessed her, and the girl she was with even warned her not to touch it.
Why would she think there would be anything wrong with it?
Someone gave it to her in the bathroom of a dive bar. The floor would be bad enough, but the bathroom? Jesus, who knows how many fart particles are on that thing?
Excuse me, I have to go and vomit.
McGonagall wants to investigate where it came from, but Harry blames Malfoy. Then Snape asks what his evidence is, and Harry's like, trust me, bro. I mean, come on. Is he really the best judge of character?
I've been asking myself the same question for 6 years.
Snape tried to kill me.
I tried to kill you.
Hagrid opened the Chamber of Secrets.
I'm gonna kill him!
It was you from the beginning.
I'm supposed to just let him die.
Then I suggest you take extra care, Mr. Potter.
In the dorms, Ron asks Harry what Dean sees in his sister, and this leads to them talking about Hermione and Ginny in a Buffalo Bill sort of way.
You know, she's got nice skin. Wouldn't you say? As skin goes, I mean.
He's making himself a woman's suit out of real women.
I'm not wearing that, it's ghastly.
At Slughorn's dinner, it seems that only Harry and Hermione know what dentists are, but I can't tell if it's because they're new to the wizarding world or if the others are just more British than they are.
Ugh, it's got horrible breath.
I've got a note.
But that awkwardness is ended by Ginny coming in, and for some reason, Horace remembers her last name, but not Ron's.
Good to see you, Wallenby.
And it seems that Harry is the only one who knows proper dinner etiquette and stands for Ginny when she gets to the table. So Hermione's like, oh shit, you wanna fuck your best friend's sister. After dinner, Harry stays behind to ask if Tom ever made the Wall of Fame because he killed his parents and wants to know more about their murderer. But he says that when he had him as a student, he was just some kid and he never noticed his bad side.
There have been incidents with the other children, nasty things.
The next day is Ron's first game as keeper, and he's super nervous about playing in front of everybody. So he drinks a spiked drink after Luna gives away that Harry put in the liquid luck. Hermione's pissed that Ron's playing with performance-enhancing drugs and totally kicking ass, but it turns out Harry never put it in his drink, and he's just really that good. But he also fake put it in, and Luna wasn't even watching when he did it.
I suspect Nargles are behind it.
So Ron ends up being the hero of the game, and this girl Lavender makes a move on him. She's been trying to get his attention all year, but he's been into Hermione, but not sure if she likes him. But while they're kissing, Hermione bolts.
I really couldn't care less.
Harry chases after her, and she's like, now I know how you feel when Ginny's with Dean. Then Ron and Lavender catch him, and Ron's like, hey, look at those birds. So Hermione controls him to attack him. And he's like, okay, I can take a hint, and goes off to touch his first boob.
Ron, you spoiled everything!
Now she was going to bring Ron as a date to Slughorn's Christmas party, but stupidly asked Cormac instead of Harry. Then she points out that this chick is trying to slip him a love potion, and he's like, she doesn't need it. So she hits him for wanting to bag a sure thing while Ginny's off the market. So he takes Luna instead.
Oh, it's all good fun.
And while they're there, Harry has to run interference with Cormac, because he's a little handsy with Hermione.
I can take care of myself.
But Snape comes in and tells Harry that Dumbledore wanted to wish him a Merry Christmas after Cormac pukes on a shoe. Then Draco's caught trying to crash the party, so Snape escorts him out, and then he yells at him because it's hard for him to protect him when he keeps fucking up his mission. He even offers to help, but Draco wants to make Tom happy. And I guess Harry left the party when he heard Dumbledore was traveling because he overhears all of this.
People will think you're up to something.
So they get to London for Christmas, and Harry tells Lupin, Tonks, and Arthur what he heard. Lupin thinks that Snape's pretending to support him to find out what the mission is, but Harry thinks that Snape is pretending to be on their side. And of course, Lupin thinks that Harry thinks this because he doesn't like Snape. Then when Lupin and Tonks fuck off, Ginny sits with Harry, and Arthur gives him some privacy. But after she feeds Harry, Ron sits between them, and things get awkward.
Oh, stop it.
Arthur later tells Harry that what Draco was looking at in the furniture shop was called a vanishing cabinet. It can transport items back and forth if you have the matching cabinet. Then as things are winding down, Tonks is going to take Lupin home because it's a full moon and already dark.
Have you taken your potion tonight?
Ginny's about to go to bed and is about to kiss Harry, but then a fireball circles the house and Bellatrix runs out into the field. When Harry stupidly chases her out, the circle of fire closes, trapping the rest of men. Well, except Ginny. She doesn't give a fuck and runs through the fire barefoot.
I got a little cooked, but I'm okay.
This other Death Eater goes after Ginny, but Harry casts a spell that this dude deflects. Then they start fucking with him. But luckily, Ginny keeps her wand in her bathrobe, and they hold him off until Lupin, Tonks, and Arthur get to him. And that's when the Death Eaters fuck off, but only to go set the Weasley house on fire.
Well, Merry Christmas, Weasleys.
No shit, right?
Bah humbug.
When they get back from break, Harry takes a look at another memory, but this one's taken from Slughorn. In this one, Tom asks Horace about some magic he read about when he snuck into the restricted section. Slughorn refused to tell him, so now Dumbledore wants to know what the magic was. Harry beelines to his class and tries to recreate the interaction from the memory. But when Slughorn brushes him off, Harry just asks him about that night with Tom, which makes Horace know that Dumbledore's pulling some shit and fucks off.
The answer's still no. Absolutely and unequivocally no.
Luckily, Ron got into some chocolates sent by Harry's stalker that were laced with a love potion. So now Harry has a reason to go to Professor Slughorn's room. He whips up an antidote for the love potion, but then pours some alcohol for him and the teenagers. Ron drinks it while the others toast, and he ends up having a seizure. Apparently, Harry paid attention in class because he remembers that there's a stone that can counteract poison, and he makes Ron swallow it, and now he's all good. But a little later, he's in the hospital and out cold. Horace claims that the mead that Ron drank was supposed to be a gift for Dumbledore, but he decided to use it to get teenagers drunk instead. Then Lavender comes in and complains that Hermione's there, and when her little Wan, in an unconscious state, moans Hermione's name, Lavender throws a baby fit and fucks off. Then everyone accepts Ron and Hermione as a couple and gives her some alone time with her unconscious new boyfriend.
I'm fine here.
When Ron's better, it seems that Ron knows that he and Lavender aren't a thing anymore because she looks like she wants to carve his heart out with a spoon.
Why a spoon?
'Cause it's dull, you twit. It'll hurt more.
But he doesn't remember anything after the chocolates, so I guess Hermione's still single. Also, that chick that got cursed is uncursed, but doesn't remember who did it. Then she freezes up when she sees Malfoy, and he runs off to the bathroom to cry.
I didn't mean to offend you or anything.
Harry follows him and calls him out. Then Malfoy attacks him, and Harry does a spell from the Half-Blood Prince book that makes Draco bleed out of his everything.
Ah, my most of me!
Why would there be an attack spell in a chemistry book?
I don't know, maybe it's the wizard version of drawing dicks on the pages.
He's an artist.
So Harry fucks off after Snape comes in, and he does a spell that makes all of Draco's blood go back into his body, after it mixed with all the toilet water from the floor in a public bathroom.
It's in your blood.
It's disgusting.
So I guess Draco's not a pureblood anymore. He's at least partially full of shit.
Filthy half-breed!
Ginny thinks that he needs to get rid of the book, so she takes Harry to the storage room and hides it. She also takes the opportunity to kiss Harry while his eyes are closed. And too bad for him, she fucks off before he can try more. But he does bump into Ron right after, who says,
Did you and Ginny do it then?
You have to say it like that.
And he's like, no, I didn't fuck your sister, Ron. But he just meant hide the book, not the sausage.
Total misunderstanding.
They also bump into Slughorn, who won't talk to Harry. So he takes the liquid luck and gets the urge to go see Hagrid.
He's always doing that.
On his way, he bumps into Slughorn, who tells him it's almost curfew, so Harry tells him to be his chaperone. They then bump into Hagrid, who's mourning the death of Aragog. Slughorn takes a few vials of venom from his rotting corpse, then they go back to Hagrid's, where they drink to play catch-up to the buzz Harry's rocking right now. And Slughorn somehow drinks Hagrid under the table.
Find no small glasses in this house.
Horace tells Harry about his pet fish that died the same day as Harry's mom, and that's because she transfigured it from a flower petal. So he tells Horace that he was able to survive Tom's attack because she sacrificed herself, and he needs to quit being a little bitch and tell him what Tom wanted to know back then, because otherwise he can't kill Tom and his mom would have died for nothing. So he turns over his memory, and they find out that Horace told him about something called a Horcrux. It's something you can put part of your soul in, so if you're killed, you can't die. But to do this, you need to kill somebody to split your soul. And Tom's like, can I do it 7 times? And Slughorn's like, dude, what the fuck? Wouldn't once be enough?
Well, that's not good enough, not nearly good enough.
Harry asks what they could be, and Dumbledore pulls out Tom's diary. He also had a ring that was Tom's mom's. And in the process of trying to destroy it, he fucked up his hand.
He was running his hands all over my sister, wasn't he?
And he thinks that he found another one, and he wants Harry to go with him. But first, Dumbledore needs to meet with Snape, where Harry overhears that Snape thinks that he's asking too much. But whatever it is, he insists that it needs to be done, and that he already agreed to it. Then he fucks off, and Dumbledore tells Harry that he can only go if he promises to obey him unconditionally. So they go to this cave, where there's a cave in the cave if you bleed on the door. Inside, they come across a lake, and the Horcrux is on the other side. Luckily, there's a sunken boat that Dumbledore somehow knew about, and it also happens to be chained up, and the chain's right below him.
But now it's out in the open for everyone to see.
His old ass makes Harry reel it in, and I'm assuming he made him row to the other side too, but when they get there, they find a magical water trough. Dumbledore tells Harry that he needs to drink all the liquid inside to get the Horcrux, but he's not sure what will happen when he starts drinking. So Harry needs to make sure that he finishes all of it.
But how does Brian know he needs to drink it all?
Well, there's an oyster shell next to it, so he's pretty sure that's what's up. They didn't exactly look around to see if anything else was there.
You don't use your eyes, do you?
Hell, the shell itself could just be the Horcrux. But Dumbledore takes a sip and acts like anyone who just drank stagnant cave water would act.
I
Kill me!
But Harry's like, chug, chug, chug. And he's like, no, it's icky. But he eventually finishes it and then asks Harry for some water.
Haven't you had enough?
He goes back to the water trough, and there's a locket in it now. So he takes it, then casts a spell to fill the trough with water again. But he can't get anything out of it. So he goes to the lake, and when he scoops some water, something grabs him. As he backs up, he sees all these zombies coming after him. They're on all sides of the island, and Harry can't hold him back. And Dumbledore is so weak that he can't even reach his wand that's 2.2 inches away. So Harry gets thrown into a lake, and a zombie's pulling him to the bottom.
Oh, let me guess, Fox comes in and saves him.
I like where your head's at, but no.
Oh, Dumbledore just got a second wind or some shit, and he cast a giant burn all the zombies spell, and they all died.
Just like that.
Back at Hogwarts, Malfoy sneaks off to the storage room where he opens the vanishing cabinet and lets Bellatrix and some other Death Eaters in. Harry and Dumbledore get back, and Harry wants to take him to the hospital, but he's like, I want to see Snape, go get him. But then they hear somebody coming in the observation tower. So Dumbledore tells Harry to hide and not come out. And since he's still under the do what I say pinky promise, Harry hides, and Draco comes in. Dumbledore acts like he's not being held at one point and tries to shoot the shit with him.
Anyway, how is your sex life?
But Draco doesn't have time to bro out with him because he's on a mission, so he does the drop your wand spell on him.
I find it extraordinarily useful.
Then the Death Eaters join him and egg Draco on, but Harry has him in his sights, at least until Snape sneaks up on him and tells him to drop it. He looks at Harry like, trust me, bro, and then goes upstairs and shoots Dumbledore, and he dies.
Why did he shoot Brian?
Because of the unbreakable vow, the Death Eaters knew that Malfoy was too much of a pussy to do it, and apparently so did his mom and aunt, because they're the ones that made the vow with Snape. So technically, if anybody else killed Dumbledore, Snape didn't do everything in his power to make sure Draco completed his mission. And since we know that Tom isn't opposed to killing children, if Snape didn't do it, there's a good chance they both would have died.
Well, how does Snape killing Brian make Draco successful?
It's like murder by proxy or some shit. Anyway, they take off and go break some shit around the castle, and then decide to go burn down Hagrid's hut for some reason. Harry stupidly chases him and is all, come at me, bro, to Snape, apparently forgetting the other 5 people are there.
What an idiot.
How is Harry supposed to defeat 6 Death Eaters?
Oh, well, after Bellatrix knocks him on his ass, Snape just says that Harry's only to be killed by Tom, so the other 5 just leave.
Bloody lucky you weren't killed.
Then Harry uses the spell from the potions book on Snape, and he turns it back on Harry and knocks him back on his ass.
You dare use my own spells against me.
He tells him that he's the one who got an A+ in Slughorn's class, and just like Tom, he made up his own nickname too.
I'm the half-blood prince.
Does that mean that for as long as Snape was a potions teacher, that he was teaching out of a textbook that he knew was wrong?
I guess so. But what's even worse is that he only accepted students to the advanced class if they aced their owls, which they wouldn't be able to do successfully based on his teaching. So dude just taught a few intro classes and must have just sat on his ass for the rest of the day. And if anybody said anything, he could just be like, it's not my fault these kids are stupid. It's actually a pretty great plan when you think about it.
It was brilliant.
So Harry goes back to the castle where everyone's outside staring at Dumbledore's dead body. So Harry goes over and rifles through his pockets to get the Horcrux from him. Then the next day, he tells Ron and Hermione that the Horcrux was a fake and someone beat him to it. This means that after this person got it, they made an exact replica, put a na-na-na-na-boo-boo note in it, then set a series of traps, including 50 or more corpses to reanimate when the poisoned person tried to get back in the boat that they also sank.
Too much?
Nah.
But Harry wants to go find the rest of the Horcruxes and won't be coming back to Hogwarts next year. And Hermione's like, aw, that's too bad, because Ron's okay with you hooking up with his sister.
What if I make a fool of myself?
But no, you go on your little scavenger hunt. Just kidding, we want to go too.
So you're saying the book nerd is going to be a high school dropout?
Maybe they have a magical GED program or some shit.
Who are you and what have you done with Hermione Granger?
But even after deciding to drop out of school and go on a magical scavenger hunt, he still has to go back to the child abuse house.
Actually, sir, after all these years, I just sort of go with it.
That's nice.
That was fun.
Why is it, when something happens, it is always...
I would have considered it a great personal triumph.
It's up to you.
It's too dangerous. Oh, come on.
Coward.
But in the end, their greatest weapon is you. Just something to think about. Now, off to bed. Pip, pip.